Hey everybody, it's Carly here for the Stamp Market. I've been having a blast using ink blending and Glimmer Paste with some of the newest Stamp Market stamps and dies, as you can see here. So I thought it would be fun to share with you today. So a great way to use Glimmer Paste is with a stencil. So I'm going to DIY a stencil with some acetate and that HBD die. I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. Then I'm tacking down just a cardstock panel onto my craft mat. And then because that stencil that we've made has kind of some delicate areas, I'm putting a little bit of removable dot adhesive so that way it'll hold those areas down and no ink and Glimmer Paste will sneak underneath. And plus the dot adhesive will just rub right off when you're done. Now to apply color through my stencil, I'm using blending brushes and distress ink, just two of my favorite things, especially right now. But you can use any method to apply color, just have fun with it. The great thing about having the Glimmer Paste go on top of the ink is that your ink blending doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to get the color saturated to a place that makes you happy. So once you've got that, then the Glimmer Paste goes on. In my opinion, it goes on best with an offset palette knife. So as you can see, I'm just going to pick up that Glimmer Paste on the bottom of my palette knife and spread it across my stencil. And, multiple passes to kind of even it out and adding more where it needs more. Now, the inks I use to ink blend, the distress inks, they are water reactive, and the Glimmer Paste is water-based. So it is going to kind of change my color a little bit, but I really like that. Just something to think about when you're doing it is that if you have like a really light pink on one side and perhaps a really dark color on the other, you might want to blend pink towards dark or light towards dark to avoid the contamination of that extra color. With these shades of the distress ink, I don't really find that's a problem. And applying it with a stencil is a great way to get it even. It's pretty easy to even that Glimmer Paste out. Now, the key to cleanup is to do it right away. Wipe off those tools, wipe off that stencil, and even remove the stencil from your project so that you can see if any Glimmer Paste was sneaky and got onto your project somewhere you didn't want it to underneath your stencil. While it's wet, you can really wipe it off. Once it's dry, not so much. Now, Glimmer Paste is not great heat set, so you want to set it aside to dry. If you heat it with a heat tool, it can bubble and ruin the whole thing after you've done all that beautiful work. So set it aside and work on another project. Now, another way I like to use Glimmer Paste is kind of in a negative die cut space. So behind a shaker window of a shaker card is really fun. Or in this case, I'm just going to do it behind this heart that I've die cut. So I'm ink blending more distress inks. And then once I've got all the colors on there that I want, I'm going to apply the Glimmer Paste in the same fashion that I did before. I'm going to apply it with that offset palette knife. And without the stencil, it's a little bit harder to get it even, but you kind of get a feel for it. And if you have a good palette knife, it's pretty easy. My palette knife is even a little bit like chipped, I guess. But it works pretty great. So my Glimmer Paste is dry. I've got all the pieces for my cards. They just need to be assembled. So I'm putting the hand-drawn heart on that card, and I'm putting those letter pieces back in my HBD, and I'm finishing off my cards. So as you can see, here's what it looks like with the finished product. It's just so sparkly and so fun, and it's especially great when you combine it with rainbow and with Stamp Market stamps and dies because they are just beautiful and classic and bold and wonderful. So thanks so much for watching. You can find more information in the description below. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting!